In this lesson, we're going to talk about what powers and exponents are. So first, we'll start off with our essential question. How is it helpful to write numbers in different ways? That's what we're going to be thinking about as we work through this lesson today. So a product of like factors can be written in exponential form using an exponent and a base. So the base is the number used as a factor. And this is what our base looks like, the whole number there. The exponent tells us how many times the base is used as a factor. And if we're looking at this example here, the factors are 10 and 10. So before we move on, factors, numbers we multiply together to get a new product. If they are the same factor, so for example, we have 10 and 10, we can write that a different way. 10 to the power of 2 to get the same product. So it's another way of writing it. I think it's quicker and it looks very nice. Okay? So numbers expressed using exponents are called powers. So the 10 to the square, or 10 squared, or 10 to the second power, that is called a power. And when we refer to powers, we are talking about numbers written in exponential form or with an exponent. Okay? So let's go ahead and take a look at our first example. Our example says, write 6 times 6 times 6 times 6 using an exponent. Okay? So, how many times is the factor 6 being multiplied by? Well, let's take a look. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? So the first step we want to do is we want to write our factor, which will be 6, because 6 is the number that's being multiplied. Then, how many times are we multiplying 6? 4. So your exponent will be the little number telling you how many times to multiply your factor by, or your base. Okay? So the answer to the first example would be 6 to the power of 4, or 6 to the power of 4. There's really no other way to say that. All right. Let's move on to our next example. Write 4 times 4 times 4 using an exponent. Well, first, let's fill this out to make sure we're not skipping any steps. And we could have done this with the first example, but I wanted us to look at it a little differently. So in this case, our factor of 4 is our base. The factor is being multiplied how many times? Well, 1, 2, 3 times. So 3. So your exponent will be 3. So our last step here, it says 4 times 4 times 4 can be written as our base is 4. So we'll write 4, and our exponent is 3. So 4 to the third power, or 4 cubed. Okay? Now let's go ahead and move on to the next part of our lesson. To write powers as products, determine the base and the exponent. So basically what that means is we're going to figure out, if we look back up here, what this would equal. So 4 to the third power, what does it equal? Equals what? Okay, so you're going to be performing multiplication. First, we need to figure out, we're writing 5 squared as a product of the same factor. So basically we're taking what we did previously and we're going to switch it and work backwards. So we have 5 squared. Well, how many times is 5 being multiplied by? According to our exponent, it's 2. So this is how you would write 5 squared as a product of the same factor. Now, can you solve 5 times 5? I think we can. 5 times 5 is 25. So that is the answer we are looking for. Let's try one more. Write 8 squared as the product of the same factor, then find the value. Well, first of all, 8 squared. Okay, rewrite it so you can see it. 8 squared. Our exponent is 2, and our base is 8. So 8 is our factor. So we're going to have to multiply it at least one time. So I'm going to write it down here. Our exponent is 2, so we have to write it one more time. So we have 2 8s over here. Then we're going to find the value. 8 times 8 is 64. So the answer to this is 64. Okay? Also, you're kind of looking at this too. This is probably your whole answers, but 64 would be the more accurate answer. Okay? For your 2-letter problems that we will be going over in class, your first one says write the product using an exponent. So you're going to write your factor and an exponent, okay, based on what this says. Over here, you're going to write the power as a product of the factor, of the same factor. So what that means is you're going to have to do what we did up here. Picking it apart and making sure that you have everything that you need, okay? I'm going to go ahead and leave you here